All right, so this was our grade 5 module 1 end of module assessment. Now the kids will be taking a retake on this, so I want to go over and all of them should have the test with them at home. I sent it home for them to study after we went over it. So our first question number 1 says solve, so we're going to subtract 3 and 1900s from 4 and 2800s. Now we got to make sure we lined them up correctly, and then really from there it's just basic subtraction. So we're gonna have to regroup, unbundle some tens. So we get 9, 0, 1. We should get 1 and 900s, and that was our answer for number 1. Very easy, simple, just basic subtraction right there. We just have to make sure we line everything up correctly, and that's very important that we make sure they line them up correctly. Now this next question says solve and select 2 answers that correctly complete the equation. Use a place value chart if necessary. 8/10 plus 3400. Now 8/10 would be written as 8/10 and 3400 would be written as 3400. Now the students had difficulty writing this as 3400 because of the fact that it has it in unit form. But we know 3400s, we have 2 numbers behind the decimal. And that's very important that they remember that. Hundreds, 2 decimals, tenths have hundreds have 2 numbers after the decimal, and tenths have 1 number or numeral after the decimal. Now we're going to add them together. And just like we would do with any addition, we're going to make sure we line them up. All right, so 4 plus 0 would be 4. And then 3 plus 8 would be 11. So we have 1 and 14 hundredths. So if we look through our list, we know it's not 42 hundredths. Tenths, we know it's not 42 hundredths. It might be 114 tenths. It might be 114 hundredths. And then right here, we have expanded fraction form. So let's go ahead and see what this might be as expanded fraction form. Is it going to be 1 times 1? 1 times 1 would be 1, plus 1 times 1/10. So 1 times 1/10 is 1/10, plus 4 times 1/100. So that would be 4 hundredths. Is it going to be 4 times 1/10? Well, that right there would be 4/10, and we already know that this is 1 and 1400, so it's not that one. So that leaves us with C, D, and E. Now we know E is correct because if we add this all together, we will get 1 and 1400s. And just like I said, it's 1 and 1400s. That is our unit, and that corresponds right there. So we should have got D and E. Now let's look at number 3 real quick. Number 3 state Louisa cuts 7 pieces of yarn. Each piece is 28 hundredths meters long. So we have 7 pieces of yarn. Each piece is 28 hundredths meters long. What is the total length of yarn Louisa cuts? Now, a lot of our students decided to divide 28 by 7. Now, the problem with that is that does not find what the question is asking for. The question is asking the total length of yarn Louisa cuts. So if she has 7 pieces of yarn, and each piece is 28 hundredths meters long, we want to find out how much she has in total, which is a multiplication problem of 28 hundredths times 7. 7 times 8, 56, 6, 5. 7 times 2, 14. So we have 196 hundredths. And then we're going to convert that back to decimal form or standard form. So we have 1. Oh, my bad right there. It should be 1.96 hundredths meters long. So 1 and 96 hundredths meters. That'll be the total length. Question number 4 says the model can be used to solve 6 times 3 and 27 hundredths. So we're going to select the partial products from the answer choices. Enter the sum of the partial products in the box. So 6 times 3 ones, we know 6 times 3 is 18. So 18 ones. We're in no decimal place. 6 times 2 tenths, well, 6 times 2 tenths would equal, we can get rid of that decimal right here. 6 times 2 tenths would equal 12 tenths, which we know tenths have 1 numeral or digit behind the decimal place. So that's 1 2/10. And then 6 times 700 would be the same as saying 700 times 6, which is 4200. And hundreds have two numerals after the decimal, so it would be equal to 42. So now we have 42 hundredths. And now it says we need to add them all together, so let me clear some space for myself. Now I try to tell the students add one number or two numbers at a time. Try not to add all three because then it gets a little confusing. So I'm going to first add my decimals together. So 1 and 2 plus 1 2/10 plus 42 hundredths. Always want to make sure we're lining up accordingly. My 2/10 and my 4/10 are lined up. Decimals are lined up. So 2 plus 0 is 2, 6, 1. Let's carry that decimal down. And now we're going to add, let's see, 1 and 62 hundredths plus 18. So let's make sure, I'm going to go ahead and put this 18 up top. Again, my 8 and my 1 are lined up because they're both in the ones place. So let me erase this one down here. Now I put the zeros up there just to show that there's nothing there in the tenths or the hundredths place. You don't have to put them up there. 2 plus 0, 2, 6 plus 0, 6. Put that decimal down, it falls right there. 1 plus 8 is 9, and then 1 plus 0 or nothing is 1. So our answer is 19 and 62 hundredths. Now, question number 5 is asking for a reasonable product. So what is a reasonable product? Well, a reasonable product is pretty much stating if we take 8 and we multiply that by 2 and 48, what can be a reasonable product? Well, what we can do is we can estimate 8 times 2 and 48 hundredths. So we can say this is 8 times 2, because if we round this number right here, where it's going to round to the greatest whole place value, which is the ones place, and that 4 is not above 5, so we're going to drop that down to 2. So 8 times 2 is 16. So we know a reasonable answer should be close to 16. Well, of our answer choices, 1 and 984 thousandths wouldn't be correct. It could be 19 and 84 hundredths. It can't be 198 and 4/10, and it's not going to be anywhere close to 1,984. So it is B. And then explain why your choice is correct using words or numbers. Well, we know that 240 and 48 hundredths is equivalent or estimated. If we round it, it can be 2. So 2 times 8 equals 16. So it's close to 16. So we could say we know that 8 times 2 equals 16. So our answer should be close to 16. And it's very important that they know reasonable answers, because of the fact that they need to be able to self-check themselves in a quick manner. Now let's look at question number 6. Enter the correct value in each box to solve, express the question in unit form and then in standard form. So it has these boxes for them to answer in. Now they get a little confused because they're breaking this number apart and they see this 3 and they don't notice that it's the same 3 across the board. So how many ones do we have in our number 9 and 36 hundredths? Well, we have 9 ones. So we have 9 ones divided by 3. And then how many hundredths do we have? Well, it didn't ask for our tenths. So we have hundredths and tenths remaining. So we have 36 hundredths. Now, I know that can be a little confusing, but we really need to look at the questions and identify what it is asking of them. Now, if we see right here, it did say 9 ones divided by 3 and 36 hundredths divided by 3. So in this next box, as you can see, the divided by 3 is gone. So we're going to divide by 3. So 9 ones divided by 3 is 3 ones. 3600 divided by 3 is 12 hundredths. And then we're just going to put them back together. So 3 and 12 hundredths. Now this is a way for the kids to break their numbers apart and do their division without getting scrambled and trying to do standard algorithm with division, because some of them do still struggle with it. So it tries to break it down for them. Now looking at 7, it says Paul bought 2 and 25 meters. 2 and 25 meters of wood to make 5 shelves of equal length. What is the length of each shelf? So we're looking for the length of each shelf. So we have 5 shelves. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Put 5 over here. And it is split in total. It will be 2 and 25 meters. So we're trying to find one box. Well, we know this is a division problem, because we're just trying to find the length of each shelf. So every individual length. Now we know that they are equal length, so we know it's going to be the same amount per shelf. So we can do 5. So we're going to divide 2 and 25 hundredths by 5. So can 5 go into 2? No. Can 5 go into 2? No, there's not any groups of 5 and 2, so we're going to do nothing there. But 5 can go into 22. There are 4 groups of 5 and 22. So 20. So we have 22 minus 20, and we get 2. We're going to drop our 5 down and get 25. Now, how many times can 5 go into 25? Well, we know 5 times 5 is 25. So this would be 5 times. So 5 times 5 is 25. Subtract those, we get 0. We do not have a remainder. Let's put our decimal back up there. So each box would be 45 hundredths meter long. Now, a way to check division is by multiplication. So we should be able to take 45 hundredths and multiply that by 5 and get 2 and 25 hundredths. So 5 times 5, 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 20. Drop that down. And this was in the hundredths place. So this is the hundredths place. So we know that's going to have 2 numbers behind the decimal. That is our original length. And we split it up 5 ways and got 45 meters. Now let's look at the last question. The last question was really tricky. It really asked our students to look at our little place value chart over here. It was really hard. So following place value chart was used to solve a division problem. Fill in the boxes to show the division problem that was solved. Now, there are a couple ways the students can look at it. We can look at the fact that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. So it shows right here 5 groups. And that 1, 2, 3, 4 were unbundled. So our original number would be the numbers that we started with that were not unbundled. So there is 9 here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9/10. Now, the reason that these don't count right now is because it was unbundled from the original 9. All right. So we can say that we have our division problem. We have 9/10 being the dividend. And we're going to split that into how many groups? Well, how many groups do we have down here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 groups, which also corresponds up here because we are only able to group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 together. We had to unbundle 4, so we had 4 left over. So it's going to be divided by 5, which our divisor is. And now we have to figure out what our quotient is. Well, our quotient is going to be what is in a group. If we split it up equally 5 ways, what's in a group? Well, we have 1/10. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hundredths. So split evenly, we have 18 hundredths. Now, again, a way to check that is to multiply 9/10 by 5 to make sure. Oh, wait, I messed up right there. It would be 18 hundredths by 5 to figure out what we have. Let me get this lined up perfectly. So we have 18 hundredths, multiply that by 5. 5 times 8 is 40. Carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5. Add the 4, 9. And this was hundredths. Now, the 0 does count as a digit right now. When we put this in hundredths, we have 90 hundredths, which is the same thing as 9/10. And that is a review of the end of module. Now they will be retaking this, and this is just a study guide for them to look over. Thank you.